Imagine sitting for a picnic in the lush rainforest of Colombia. Cicadas are chirping, and the air is so humid it could be wrung out like a wet cloth. Suddenly, the dead wood at your feet moves. That's not wood, it's a spine, wider than your pickup truck and longer than a telephone pole. If it stood up, it could peek its head through a third-floor window to say hello to you. This is Titanoboa. One word, huge. Two words, absurdly huge. The story starts in 2009 in Colombia's Cerrejón coal mine. Miners dug up not just fuel, but a pile of vertebrate fossils the size of large dinner plates. At first, scientists were confused. What the hell was this? Deinosuchus? Or some unknown dinosaur? It wasn't until the puzzle was complete that everyone gasped it was a snake. This isn't the kind of pet you see in zoos that struggles to eat a small white mouse. Based on fossil calculations, this guy was over 14 meters long and weighed more than 1 ton. Stretched out straight, it's the equivalent of a stretched limousine bus. Put it on a scale, and it's as heavy as an adult African forest elephant. Why could it grow so big? The answer isn't genetic mutation, but the environment. 60 million years ago, in the Paleocene epoch, dinosaurs had just exited the stage of history, and the Earth was in a high fever. Back then, in northern South America, the average annual temperature was several degrees higher than it is now. You see, snakes are ectothermic animals. They don't have internal air conditioning, and their body temperature depends entirely on the environment. The rule is simple. The hotter the environment, the faster the metabolism, and the higher the growth limit. The Earth back then was like a top-tier sauna that stayed open 24/7. With an abundant supply of heat, the size of snakes swelled wildly like inflated balloons. Titanoboa was the ultimate product of this greenhouse effect era. Don't be fooled by Hollywood movies. With such a heavy body, Titanoboa was actually a loser on land. Imagine trying to drag a giant water-filled fire hose on the beach. If its 1-ton weight pressed entirely on its abdomen, it would struggle even to breathe. So, it spent almost its entire life in the water. Using the buoyancy of water, it could glide like a ghost in shallow waters and swamps. It wasn't a hunting dog that chased you down. It was a master of ambush. It would sink quietly to the bottom of the water, showing only its eyes. When its target got close, it would launch a surprise attack at incredible speed. It didn't rely on venom. It relied on pure physical crushing constriction to death. For a long time, everyone thought it was a crocodile killer, but the latest skull research proved that wrong. Its tooth structure was actually more suitable for catching large fish. That's right, this top predator was actually a die-hard seafood lover. As the undisputed top dog on Earth at that time, Titanoboa had no natural enemies. But in nature, the most powerful weapon is often not fangs, but changes in the environment. As the global climate gradually cooled down, this giant sauna lost power. For ectothermic animals, cooling down meant a countdown to death. Their bodies, like dead cell phones, couldn't power such large hardware. Their movements slowed down. They couldn't catch fish, and they could only starve to death. This is the cruel game of evolution. The advantage that once made you top the peak becomes your heaviest shackle when the environment changes. They got smaller and smaller with each generation, and in the end, only those awe-inspiring vertebrae remained in the rock layers of history. In 2024, similar Vasuki indicus fossils were discovered in India, making many people worry. Will global warming now make these monsters crawl out of the ground again? The truth is, it's not that simple. To raise a Titanoboa, you not only need to turn the air conditioner up to the highest setting, but also ensure that there are always endless giant freshwater fish in the refrigerator. And this state must last for millions of years. The modern Earth's ecosystem is already highly fragmented, and giant beasts of this size simply cannot find enough living space. The story of Titanoboa is like a mirror, reflecting the insignificance and greatness of life. It tells us, on the huge chessboard of the Earth, life is never the protagonist, the rules are. Nature doesn't care who is the overlord. It only cares who can adapt to the rules of the next game. As powerful as Titanoboa was, it was ultimately just a speck of dust amid climate fluctuations.